Welcome to Growth Minded. I'm Ed Hayes. My mission for Growth Minded is to build a community of leaders committed to cultivating a positive attitude, creating a love of learning, and choosing to develop a growth mindset again and again. To stretch beyond our current abilities will require dedication, effort, and a belief in ourselves, but the results include advantages in more comfort taking risks, striving for goals outside of our comfort zone, greater motivation, enhanced cognitive development across multiple areas of your life, less stress, anxiety, and depression, better personal relationships, and high performance levels. Sound interested? Hit that subscribe button and welcome to the Growth Minded community. In today's episode, I'll be reviewing Mindshift, written by Dr. Barbara Oakley. Dr. Oakley teaches the world's most popular open online course, Learning How to Learn. She's also a professor of engineering at Oakland University and is involved in multiple areas of research, including STEM education, engineering education, and best learning practices. Throughout Mindshift, Dr. Oakley introduces us to people who have experienced a mindshift in their lives, from guitarists turned doctors to white-collar workers turned woodworkers. Oakley herself struggled with math and science growing up, but she learned different strategies when learning a language in the military, and she discovered learning techniques that can be leveraged for people across all industries and all fields that can help cultivate positive attitude, learn more effectively, and grow in multiple areas of your life. So today I'll speak on some of the top techniques from Mindshift that can help the growth minded community, including reframing, the Pomodoro technique, and massive open online courses. So let's jump right into it. One specific technique that I first mentioned is the reframing or seeing problems as opportunities technique. Steve Jobs mentioned that getting fired from Apple was one of the best things that could have ever happened to him. He said the heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. So this is an example of someone reframing a setback into an opportunity. Reframing is a powerful mental tool that is even used in cognitive behavioral therapies, and it's helpful to treat depression and anxiety, for example. One powerful example of a person who reinvented himself through reframing is Adam Khoo. Adam is a Singaporean entrepreneur, trainer, and author of best-selling book I Am Gifted and So Are You. Adam is the first to admit that he's not very smart. He's a worrier and a little bit gullible as well. Growing up in the academically competitive Singaporean culture, not being able to learn quickly, efficiently, and effectively in adolescence can lead to negative stigma, not only for yourself, but your family. So there's a high pressure to succeed with a good job, a good salary, and a high education level. So one of Adam's best traits is his ability to reframe. So one of the principles that Adam believes in is that everything happens for a reason, and there's something to be learned from every situation, no matter how bad the situation may seem. So believing that there is something to learn in every situation kept Adam motivated during setbacks. And another piece of Adam's reframing ability came as he would make his goals visual. He would make movies out of his goals with so much detail that he could envision himself leading an educational training seminar and helping youth and adolescents like himself learn more effectively and efficiently. So Adam believes it's critical to review what you want to do and why you want to do it every day. For example, Adam wants to be successful to inspire others, for example. Personally, my mission statement is that I believe in my personal destiny. I believe in cultivating a positive attitude, creating a love of learning, and choosing to develop a growth mindset again and again to inspire others and lead others towards a growth mindset. So family and friends have shared with me how can we sustain a positive attitude? And I think there's a pretty good quote from Mindshift where Adam says, motivation is like bathing. It doesn't last. You have to motivate yourself each day, just like washing. And that's why it may be important for you to revisit what you want to do and why you want to do it, your personal mission statement on life each day to sustain your attitude. So Adam proved that you don't have to be the smartest to succeed in a standardized education system. And I think the United States schools and businesses can definitely benefit with more educational boot camps, training and education on attitude, learning, and growth strategies, as they can help both conventional and unconventional learners succeed. A few additional techniques that you can use to sustain a positive attitude is to try using postmortems. So after big projects or big life events like moving out of your house or finishing a rotation at work in a certain job, asking for feedback from colleagues, friends, and family to see how you can improve and have an open attitude towards that improvement. That would be one more practical idea that I found in Mindshift. Another technique is reaching out to an upbeat friend and having a conversation on the phone on things that inspire you, things that motivate you, things that you're interested in. And then finally, to round out this this topic on sustaining a positive attitude, like I said, creating a personal mission statement or watching inspiring YouTube videos or reading biographies can be humbling as you see other people succeed and overcome insurmountable odds. And it can be humbling to say, okay, well, I guess my situation isn't as bad compared to anyone else's. Still, you don't want to compare yourself to others too much, as I think it's important to compare yourself against um, yourself. Just try to be the best version that you can be. So, jumping into how to learn more efficiently, how to create a love of learning, we're going to speak on the Pomodoro technique. And it's been a life-changing technique for me. How it works is that you set 20 minutes on a timer and you focus all your energy on one thing. You focus on the process of trying to solve a complex problem rather than the result. And when you're finished focusing, it's just as important to reward yourself with a little bit of downtime, whether it's, 5 minutes of just walking around or talking to a friend or listening to a favorite song. And I've learned that there's two sides of your brain. There's one side that is focused and it's process oriented, logical, and step by step driven. And then there's this other diffuse mode, this other imaginative side of your brain, this creative side where you can solve complex problems when you're in this mode because your brain is still working on some of these step by step problems even if you're not necessarily thinking about it, which I thought was really interesting. So some of the ways you can tap into the diffuse mode will be doing something physical, exercise, or listening to music. I like to do walking or sleeping is one of the most beneficial things you can do. They say if you sleep a little bit before, or if you review what you stressing about for bed, you sleep on it, you get a good night's sleep on it, typically you can find the answer when you wake up. So at work, I carry a journal with me and I mark the time. So if it's 9 o'clock, I'll write 9 a.m. and I'll put a little slash next to it. That's an indicator of one Pomodoro. So between 9 and 9:20, I'll be focused on the problem at hand, and then I'll reward myself with, 5-minute short break. And what I've learned from this is that I have sustained energy throughout the day. I tend not to procrastinate, and I tend to be more efficient with the things that come up throughout the day. For those of you who are still in school, something I wish I knew was that when you're studying for an exam, try to track the amount of time it takes. So if it takes you about 8 hours in total to get an A on an exam, like learn your baseline and then you can work backwards in Pomodoro. So if your exam's on Friday and you got to study 8 hours, you can say, okay, 2 hours Monday, 2 hours Tuesday, 2 hours Wednesday, 2 hour Thursday. That should get me to an A. And I wish I knew that because there were nights where I was struggling and I'd have to pull all-nighters because I was not efficient with my time. So to round this section out on effective learning techniques, chunking is another important idea. Chunking is practicing deliberately day by day and with repetition. Over time, these chunks come together and it forms expertise. So for example, if you're learning a new problem in calculus, if you think you have it mastered, start from scratch. See how well you know it, because you can't really escape what you don't know when you start from scratch, when you start from a blank slate. For analysts or people in supply chain, if you're starting a new process of running a report with different systems, try, well, I would suggest maybe having all the steps listed out, learning that, and then trying from a blank slate and seeing how well you know it. This is the best way to test yourself in some scenarios. And over time, you'll develop a procedural fluency to it. And then one of the other most important techniques I would suggest is a recall. Recall is closing your eyes and basically seeing what you can remember, whether it's from conversation or reading. A practical way to use recall is if you're having a conversation either with your manager or with a recruiter, after the conversation, recalling what were the most important topics discussed, and then make an action plan on how I can, meet those expectations. For folks interested in internships and jobs, this can help you stand out from the pack as you can pull out the most important information from the conversation, follow up with an email to the recruiter and say, thanks for a great conversation. I enjoy talking about XYZ. And that would definitely help you stand out from the pack. So the third topic is developing a growth mindset, growing in multiple areas of your life. And the most practical technique for this growth mindset may come in the form of MOOCs. These are massive open online courses. So the positives about massive open online courses or MOOCs is that you can save tens of thousands compared to a traditional MBA program. You can learn what you want more efficiently. You can learn where you want, when you want. You can set your own pace to your learning. Many MOOCs are taught by top university professors from around the world. And to cap it off, MOOC is a little bit different than a video, for example, because a MOOC will require active learning where you are either solving problems by hand or having to take notes. It engages you as opposed to watching a video, which is more of a passive way of learning. So the top options for MOOCs include Udacity, Coursera, and edX. So Oakley lists examples of folks who've grown in multiple areas of their lives and are more successful from taking these online courses as they've been able to directly apply what they've learned into their work and into their lives. So there's an example of an operations manager who grew his business related skills as a mentor, coach, and trainer. He learned from one of the MOOCs that he took how to, well, he learned that everyone has a different learning strategy, and that helped him, I guess, have empathy and coach and mentor and serve his employees better. There's another example of a social worker who grew technical skills and leveraged MOOC insights in predictive modeling to help the healthcare company he was with. And finally, there's a lawyer who's taken over 100 courses that has helped him become a better lawyer and environmentalist, advocating for conservation and a cleaner world. So to round out some of the growth strategies, the growth techniques, try something new every day. That's another suggestion in Mindshift. Reading, one study found that people who read books for 3.5 hours a week were 23% less likely to have died over the 12-year period. And there's another study of 16,000 folks in China that showed the higher level a person's education, the lower probability of Alzheimer's disease. And finally, the last piece of information is second skilling. Traditional careers have thought to be a T-shaped approach where you have one area of expertise and you're rounded out by additional skills. For example, having a specific skill set in finance, but then being well-rounded in the ability to communicate and analyze. Oakley's arguing now for a pie-shaped approach where you have two deep skill sets that you can leverage. For example, folks in supply chain, that can be their one area of expertise. And because they have logical and process-oriented abilities, if you merge that with an area of expertise in engineering, for example, with skill sets across the top, that can result in a career, for example, that improves processes for the quality in the healthcare industry. There's also been suggestions for second skilling to combine a work-related passion with a passion, like a work-related skill and a passion. So personally, my work-related skill is supply chain, and the passion that I have is educating and teaching. And it's cool to marry the two and apply what I'm learning from teaching and reading into my day-to-day work. So today I spoke on top techniques from Mindshift that can help the growth-minded community cultivate a positive attitude through reframing, learn more efficiently using the Pomodoro technique, and grow in multiple areas of your life through massive open online courses. I'm Ed Hayes. This is a great episode of Growth Minded. This is a great book, Mindshift. I would highly recommend it. This is one of my favorite books. Like I said, it's got a lot of practical techniques and real life examples of people who are growing, who are continuously learning, and who are sustaining a positive attitude in life. So I'll have another episode next Tuesday. Don't miss it. Thank you. I appreciate it.